Okay, so another video of a concept I'd also like to introduce, which is a concept of a rogue player, which is essentially a wide attack player who helps out in the B channel. We kind of did this last year with our aces, but it was always the flanker, and I don't think that makes a lot of sense. The flankers kind of got overworked, while the wings didn't get to do enough work. So I think this rogue will make a lot more sense and address kind of the basic problem of our system. One basic problem of our system is in our shape, if we go wide, pod, wide, and we keep doing that, the pods do more work. So if we start on a wide attack and we go pod, wide, pod, wide, pod, wide, pod, wide, pod, wide, what you can see is for every 3 phases that the wide attack runs, each pod runs 5. And so the pods are doing more work. Now the pull pass is one way for us to help out the pods and get the ball wide more often, but this is another thing that we can do to help them out. Another thing, since we're having the 10 and the 15 run with the wide attack, even though they're going less often, consistently have 4 guys with them. Okay, if the 10 always goes with these guys, that's 4 guys going with each wide attack and only 3 guys going with each pod attack. So if the pods have fewer guys and they're attacking more often, that's an issue and a weak point. So this rogue system, I think, is going to be really important for helping it out. Okay, and this is the basic principle, and then I'll show examples of how this works. So the rogue player is a wide attack player who supports the pods in the B channel. All wide attack players must be able to play rogue. On the wide player is A, the leftover player who doesn't go in the ruck, or B, he is the guy at the back of the ruck who kind of has the least issue. So anytime you're a ball carrier who crashes and goes down, you're not going to be the rogue player because you're at the bottom of the ruck. If you are the first supporting rucker who's kind of all out fighting in the ruck, you're not going to be the rogue player on the next unit. The players who are going to be rogue are either the guy who doesn't even join the ruck. Oftentimes, we'll use that as our first example. So let's say if we're attacking here, we have a ruck in the 2, 3, 5, and the 9 plays the ball to the 15, and let's say the 12 crashes. Okay, it does not make sense for the 15 to hold out and for the 14 to run out to in into that phase. That doesn't make sense. What naturally happens and what does make sense is that the 12, the 15, and the 6 are in that ruck. The 14 is threatening the weak side. And in this situation, if the 9 gets here and there is space here to attack and we want to attack, he goes ahead and feeds the 14 and we kind of support the 14. This is obviously dangerous because these guys are going to have to get up and follow. The 9's probably going to get drawn into that ruck. But if the opportunity is there, we want to go for it. But what often happens is that the defense folds, okay, and this zone is covered, and the 14 didn't get to do anything. They haven't done any work whatsoever, and the ball is about to go all the way to the other touchline and then come all the way back, and they would just be standing there doing nothing the whole time. So this would be a situation in which this guy, he would be our rogue player. So after this phase, maybe he holds there for a second to get these defenders here, but then as it becomes clear that he's not going to get the ball, he starts to come this way. And I'm going to go ahead and reset the next phase. So what we should see, our kind of A formation is with the 10 here, 2, 5, 3, and then out here we've got our 8, 1, 4, okay? And this we could be playing off 9 or playing off 10. In this situation, I've had us off 10. As the 14 is coming across, what I want him to do, he cannot get in the way of the 9, 10. He can't get in the way, that's really important, but he could fold and be on the inside of the 10 as an additional attacking option. So when the 9 passes to the 10 has the option to either hit any of these forwards or kind of attack a little bit square and pop the ball inside to the 14, and these ruckers can come in and help with the 14. No matter who gets the ball, it's like most of the time, the 10 passes to these guys, and the 2, 5, and 3 are hitting this ruck. The 14 can go ahead and join the ruck if they're in trouble, which sometimes happens if we have slow ball and we're going against a tough pack. One extra rucker can make sure that this breakdown is solid and safe. And so the 14 could join that ruck. He could also, if that ruck is safe, and the 10 slides across, and the 184 here, he could just do the exact same thing, where he comes here and pops up on the inside of the 10 again. And even if he's not getting the ball, when these defenders see extra bodies in front of them, an extra attacker who's a threat, they're going to be more likely to stay tight and to keep their focus here. And these guys should have more space to attack. And if these guys attack once again, and that 10 gives these guys the ball, the 8, 1, and 4 crash, and this is our ruck. And same thing, if the 14 sees that these guys need help, he can keep going over here. Okay, and he can support this ruck, and he can be all the way from his touchline, and that's fine because we know that the 12 and the 6 are still here. If they were to fold too far and we were to decide to go back this way, we still have 2 players out here. We're still threatening this zone here. We haven't left it bare, but it's just the 12 and the 6, and the 14 is doing his work. And then in this situation, if we keep going, and the 10, 13, 7, and 11 go ahead and attack off this ruck, and let's say the 14 joined that ruck, okay? As soon as the ball goes to the 9, now he's done, and he can go ahead and make his way back to his spot over here, and he's got this wide attack phase here, another pod phase here, and another pod phase here before it's coming back to him. So even though he ran across the field and did all this extra work, he's got time to rest and recover. And now he's gotten to threaten, he's gotten to hit rucks, he's gotten to do work and not just be kind of wasting his time over here doing absolutely nothing for a huge amount of time. Does that make sense? Okay, and the same thing, the same principle will hold. We'll go ahead and show it on this side and work it back with the B option. Let's say when the ball goes from this ruck, I'm going to reset so I've got a little bit more space. So we've got our 1, 8, and 4 in a ruck, and the 14, and the 9 right here, and he feeds the 10 with the 13, 7, and 11 here. And let's say on this phase, we've got a little bit of space. We move the ball all the way to the 11, okay? And the 11 crashes right here by the touch line, and the 7 goes in and is the primary cleaner, and the 13 is at the back of the ruck, okay? And the 10, because he passed it all the way to the 11, he's done, and he can take this phase to reload. So now what we've got is our 10 here, or I'll even do, we'll on this one, we'll show off 9, because we can play off 9 too. So we've got our ruck here, and we've got our 1, 4, 8 here, and our 10 is in behind, and over here we've got our 2, 3, 5, and our 15 is in behind, and we've got our 12, 6, and 14 out here, okay? And this 13, think about what he just did. He received a pass from the 10, and he just passed it to the flanker. And then the flanker passed to the 11 crashed hard into the ruck, the 7 piled in, and the 13 just came, and he's just the second guy at the back of the ruck. He might have had to do some work, but mostly he just passed and just kind of supported a rucker. That's not a lot of work. And he should be kind of on his feet at the back of that ruck. So as soon as the ball goes, instead of him just doing nothing, as soon as the ball goes and the 1, 4, 8 crash, he can go ahead and run right over here. And if they need help in the ruck, he can hit this ruck and be another guy so that this ruck is safe. Or let's say these guys punch over the gain line and the 10 wraps around. Actually, no, we'll still play off 9 just so we see. So these guys have gotten over the gain line and the ruck is safe. The 9 is here and we're playing off 9 because we like doing that right now for some reason, okay? And then the 13 can wrap around, and as long as he doesn't get in this passing lane and cut it off, he can float in this zone right here to attract more defenders. So these guys will now be in 2 minds because they've got a 4th guy coming in, and the 9 could pass to these guys, or he could pass the 13 crashing. But let's say the 9 passes to the 2, okay? And now, as the 2 gets the ball, instead of just having an option to tip to the 3, the 2 also has an option to tip back inside to the 13. So we're giving ourselves more options, and what most likely will happen is the 9 will just pass to one of these forwards and they'll just crash, especially when we're playing off 9 tip passes are less common. So let's say the 9 just passes to the 3 and the 3 crashes. Well, here we go again. Maybe their defense is set and they're really physical and this breakdown is a war zone, so that we just add in the 13 here into this breakdown, and then we've got our 15, 12, 6, 14. And maybe because we've been playing off 9, we've got a ton of space here. So the 10 and the 15 are here, and we go into these guys. As soon as the ball leaves this ruck, the 13 can now reload, and he's gotten a lot of work done that otherwise he would have just had his hands in his pockets, not doing much on the weak side. And this is our rogue system to help out our pod forwards in the B channel and make sure that our wide attack players who don't get as much involved in the wide attack phase have something to do. They can get out from their edge and go work to the inside of the field and get more work done. Okay, so this is rogue, which I think will help our system a lot. Okay, awesome.